Today we have syntax, chapter number 8. Okay, we're going to talk about syntax. We're going to talk about deep and surface structures and also structural ambiguity. Of course, when we set out to provide an analysis of the syntax of a language, very important syntax of language, it's a structure of language. We try to adhere to the all and only criteria. What does this mean? This means that our analysis must account for all the grammatically correct phrases and sentences, and only those grammatically correct phrases and sentences in whatever language we are analyzing it. Okay, so when we consider the analysis of grammatical structure, we mean by this that we have to look for the correct phrases, the correct sentences, the sentences or phrases that are well formed, that are grammatical. In other words, if we write rules for the criteria of well-formed structures, it means grammatical sentences. Okay? Another meaning for grammatical sentences is well-formed structures. So if we write rules for the creation, if we want to write rules for creation of well-formed structures, at the same time we have to check that those rules, when applied logically, won't lead to ill-formed structures. Ill-formed structures, it means ungrammatical structures. Of course, when we give rules of grammar to create grammatical sentences, of course, we will have grammatical sentences. واحد ما مسوي ميوت. حوراء عبد السادة. تمام. Okay, so this is what we mean by syntax: creating, making, writing rules in order to create well-formed grammatical structures. Okay. For example, here, if we want to take an example in English, for example, when we put in a preposition near before a noun London to form prepositional phrase near London, can we apply this rule to put a preposition for a noun? It will be correct. Maybe here near London correct. Can we generalize it? يعني نقدر نعممه. If we use this, if we use this as a rule of grammar to create structures, we will produce sentences like near tree, with dog, and preposition plus noun. Here we have asterisk. It means what? It means ungrammatical. This is ungrammatical, so it is incorrect to put preposition before a noun. So this rule is not correct. We clearly need to be more careful, and then we have to be more careful in forming this rule. So we want to create a rule. We have to be very careful. Why? Because this rule can be applied, okay? Can be applied to many phrases or many sentences, okay? خلينا نكمل شرح تقدرون تسألون بعدين. So we might have more success with a rule. ممكن نخلي rule نقول we put preposition before a noun phrase. This rule is better than the rule which reads a preposition before noun. We have to say a noun phrase, and you know noun phrase, not just a noun. Okay, so we can't say that noun phrase consists of proper noun phrase, شنو noun phrase? Proper noun, for example, London, or pronoun you. or a combination of an article A or D, and a noun, tree or dog. So we can say near London with you, preposition and noun phrase. Noun phrase here we have what? Pronoun. Preposition before noun phrase, article and noun. Preposition, you see, this rule is good, it's applicable, it's grammatical. You see, so we have to be very careful in creating grammatical rule that can be applied to many phrases in order to be grammatical. I mean, these phrases to be grammatical. Here we have other examples about numbers, about grammar, about making rules of grammar. This reflects another goal of syntactic analysis, which is to have a small and finite set of rules. So here we have small number, we have finite, limited set of rules. We have limited rules, set of rules. These rules will be capable of producing large, infinite, unlimited number of well-formed structures. قلنا well-formed structures, it means grammatical sentences. So, in short, these rules, these small number of rules, limited, can be able to produce unlimited number of grammatical sentences. This small and finite set of rules is called generative grammar. هذا تعريف generative grammar. And then generative grammar, it means what? Refers to what? To a limited number of rules that can create unlimited number of well-formed sentences or grammatical sentences. From its name, generative يعني generate, يعني create, يعني produce sentences, new sentences, many sentences, unlimited number of sentences. If we have this rule like this rule, when we put a preposition before a noun phrase, قد راح يصير عندنا phrases near London, with you, near tree, with the dog, with her, okay, at the school, you see, etc. This type of grammar should also be capable of revealing the basis of two other phenomena. We have two other phenomena. First, how some superficially different sentences are closely related. Okay, superficially different sentences, but they are related. That's why we say self-structure. And some superficially similar sentences are in fact different. We will see what is deep structure and surface structure. Here are these two sentences which are superficially different. Superficially, يعني ظاهريا. مثلا Charlie broke the window. Okay, here we have subject, verb, object. The window was broken. Here we have active sentence, here passive. The window is what? This is the window at the beginning here. Object was broken, passive, by Charlie, here, see at the end. So these different sentences, but you can see here, active sentence, and the second is passive, but they are related. The meaning is the same, okay? The distinction between them is a difference in the surface structure. That is the different syntactic form they have as individual English sentence. However, this superficial difference in form disguises the fact that these two sentences are closely related, even identical, at some less superficial level. Okay, this is the idea that these two sentences, though they are different structures, they are different, but they are the same, they are related, they give the same meaning. This is what we mean by surface structure. I will repeat it. The distinction between these two sentences is just a difference in their surface structure. Just what you see, the surface من اسمها surface sentence surface structure is different. يعني شنو؟ That's يعني معناته شنو؟ The different syntactic forms. يعني syntactic forms من إنه يعني the words units the different syntactic forms they have. يعني just they are different. The arrangement مالتهم different as individual English sentences. But this what just what difference, superficial difference. But these two sentences are related, identical. This is number one. Number two, underlying level, which is دائما نقول احنا underlying أو نقول deep or underlying level. شنو يعني هذا؟ شنو فرقه؟ Where the basic components قلنا احنا basic components يعني syntactic forms. شوف يستعمل لك هنا مختلف. Syntactic forms. Noun, phrase, verb, noun shared by the sentences can be represented. It's called their deep structure. Okay? When the basic components shared by the two sentences, basic components. These two sentences shared. So this is deep structure. Deep structure وشنو هو؟ There's an abstract level. Abstract something inside in the mind of structural organization in which all the elements determining structural interpretation are represented. You see? So deep structure is something abstract, something in the mind. For what? For the structural organization in which all the elements, all the units of the sentence determining structural interpretation are represented. So this is what we mean by deep structure. So deep structure is something related to the mind. Another example. The same deep structure can be source of many other surface structures such as يعني الجملة الأصلية مثلا هي مو قلنا احنا Charlie هاي Charlie can be many other surface structure ممكن تطلع لنا surface مالتها it was Charlie who broke the window and was the window broken by Charlie. You see, we will understand it in structural ambiguity more and more about it. Let's say we have two distinct deep structures. قلنا احنا deep structures وين تكون in the mind. هاي الجملة الأصلية هاي جملة أصلية Annie bumped into a man with an umbrella. Okay, هاي الجملة الأصلية Annie bumped into a man with an umbrella. Surface structure. Okay, high surface structure. Okay, you can see it. Subject, verb, complement. It in your mind. How can you understand this sentence in your mind? How many interpretations for this sentence? Here, two interpretations. One expresses the idea that Annie had an umbrella. من تقول Annie bumped into a man يعني ضربت واحد بالمظلة بالشمسية. هنا تقول Annie had an umbrella and she bumped into a man with it وضربته بالمظلة. هذا deep structure. هذا in your mind هذا. In your mind. لا. Okay? One expresses the idea that in your mind. The other expresses the idea Annie bumped into a man and the man happened to be carrying umbrella. ما طقته بالامبريلا هو شايل umbrella. So this is in your mind. How you can understand it. That's why we say what? We say this is structural ambiguity. This sentence provides an example of structural ambiguity. شنو يعني structural ambiguity? It has two distinct underlying قلنا احنا underlying يعني deep interpretation that have to be represented differently in deep structure. We have here other examples. You can read these examples. We have also, I have given you examples. For example, he loves his dog more than his wife. Right? Surface structure. In your mind, ايش راح تفسرها انت؟ لان هي ambiguity دائما من ambiguity more than one meaning. مثلا مرات واحد يقول استاذ يعني ما نلقى تفسير واحد للجملة، عادي تلقى تفسير واحد للجملة. فالظاهر إلها والتفسير الداخلي in your mind هذا يعتبر deep. لكن sometimes we have more than one interpretation. and then a deep structure, deep sentences in your mind. فمن تقول he loves his dog more than his wife. يعني in your mind what? Maybe to say that he loves his dog more than his wife loves the dog. يعني هو يحب زوجته أكثر من ما هي تحب dog. Maybe, or another interpretation, he loves his dog more than his wife. أو هو يحب كلب أكثر من زوجته. يعني يعز dog more than his wife. Or he loves his dog more than his wife. هو يحب زوجته كذا بس هنا كلبها ما يحبه لكن محبته للكلب للدوغ أجلكم الله more than his wife loves the dog. You see? This is the interpretation. These are deep structure in your mind. Here we have also phrases. Phrases can be structurally ambiguous, not only sentences. How many phrases? مثلا بنقول small boys and girls. This is ambiguous. يعني in your mind, this is surface. In your mind interpretation ممكن تكون small boys and small girls. تقصد بها حتى small girls. من تقول أنا أريد أن يجون وياي small boys and girls. So maybe here you mean what? You mean small boys in your mind. This is deep structure. And small girls. Or لا أنت تعني small boys and all girls. ما حددت أنا قلت small girls. قلت small boys and all girls. That's why we say it is ambiguous. This sentence is ambiguous. شلون نزيل الغموض مالت هاي الجملة؟ تقدر تقول small boys and small girls. صار one interpretation, one deep structure in your mind. أو تقدر تقول small boys and all girls. You see here? I hope the idea is clear. We have recursion. From its name, recursion means repetition. How we can repeat the rules. The rules of grammar will also need the crucial property of recursion. Recursive means repeatable. Any number of times we repeat rules have the capacity to apply more than once in generating structure. ممكن repeat the same rule. For example, one prepositional phrase during describing location can say on the table. Preposition, article, noun. In the sentence, the gun was on the table. We can also repeat this type of phrase نقدر نعيدها using different words. For example, near, preposition, the, article, window, noun, the same. You see, on, near, the, table, window. So the same rule here is repeated. Also in the bedroom. Preposition, article, noun. So the same rules, can be repeated. In order to generate sentence such as we can put them together. خليناها كل الجملة هاي خليناها نسويها. The gun was on the table near the window in the bedroom. You see? The same rule here. Prepositional phrase is repeated in one sentence. We can here say that, repeat it again and again. Also, we can repeat sentences. Yes. Also can be applied to sentences. For example, Kathy knew that Mary helped George. So here we have what? Structure within structure, sentence within sentence, clause within a clause. تاخذوا بالمرحلة الرابعة بالتفصيل clauses. So Kathy knew, subject, verb. Subject, verb. See here? Sentence within sentence. You see inside it. Also, we can generate more and more. John believed that Kathy knew that Mary helped George. Here we have three sentences. Sentence within sentence. So this is what we mean by recursion. That the rules, again, the rule can be repeated with different words, whether in phrases or sentences. We have tree diagram. Tree diagram, very important in this chapter. And you know, we talked about diagram. We talked about how to make classification, how to classify the units of the sentence, the components, how to divide them. We use, for example, brackets, if you remember, noun phrase, article, noun, very important, the symbols لازم تعرفوهم. Okay, they treat the same tree, but in this way, just diagram. Noun phrase, article, noun, this is the same. Here we have whole sentence. The girl saw a dog. The girl saw a dog. How to make a diagram for this sentence? First, you have to put sentence, sentence. Okay, here the explanation. S, sentence. Noun phrase, the sentence consists of noun phrase, verb phrase. Okay, noun phrase, verb phrase. What do we have in noun phrase? Noun phrase, we have art, article, and an noun. يا والارتكل the مرات ما نكون بيها article مثلا نقول سارة saw a dog just noun phrase noun. You see, verb phrase verb, which is saw, and within verb phrase what usually has noun phrase. saw a dog. noun phrase من تطلع من الverb phrase مو طلعها من sentence, but here from the sentence. Article, noun, a dog. Symbols used in syntactic analysis. Very important to know the symbols. What are the symbols? As I told you, as noun phrase, noun, article, verb phrase. Okay. PP, it means prepositional phrase. You have to know the symbols. This, what does it mean? This arrow. In arrow, it means what consists of or rewrites as. When we say noun phrase, we put this. It means noun phrase consists of article plus noun. زيد غيرك. So we say noun phrase consists of article plus noun. Consists of article plus noun. You see, etc. Symbols هنا أنا بنخصي لك إياها. هذا التلخيص كلش مهم. Noun phrase, article, and then noun phrase, pronoun, noun phrase, proper noun. You see? Okay. Noun phrase, article, noun, proper noun. Pronoun, sorry, proper noun. شنو السمبلز هنا؟ Then say sentence, etc. Preposition. Here, when you see this in asterisk, it means anagrammatical sentence. When you see this, it means consists of. When you see this box, it means optional constituent, optional, اختياري. Okay, اختيار مرات مثلا نقول the good girl, the good boy. تقدر تحذف ال good, optional هاي عادة. And you know that when noun phrase, for example, verb phrase, there are certain elements that are obligatory and some are optional. هنا أنا موجود عندكم فوق. هاي مثلا. Okay, مثلا a big cat. هي براكس optional يعني. تقدر تقول a cat وتقدر تقول a big cat. لكن هنا no brackets means what? Obligatory. يعني ما يصير نقول a big what? ما يصير نقول big cat. We have to put article. This is what you mean by optional. Optional constituent, it means optional unit. هذا القوس اللي هو هذا هنا يعني one and only one of these constituents must be selected. يعني تختار واحد منهم. يعني تقول noun phrase article noun or noun phrase pronoun or noun phrase proper noun. يعني one and only one of these constituents must be selected. We will finish with this till this title, phrase structure rules. If you have any question, please, I'm ready to listen to you. Yes, please, can ask me if you have. Yes, please.